Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see you. We have our second stream of the week. We're shooting for 3 with tomorrow. The stream is a little bit early today because I wanted to have a little bit of space, a cushion between this live stream and the Furiosa trailer, which is supposed to debut this evening. The panel starts at CCXP like we were discussing yesterday. The panel starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, probably run about an hour. So I expect the trailer to go online at some point then. So I'm very excited to see it. So I wanted to have a little bit of as I said, a break there. I'm glad you liked the shirt, Derek. I wore it for the Furiosa trailer. There was a little bit of a first look that came out yesterday, and I was like, ooh, that's nice. It was nicer than I expected, and I was able to theme my clothing, which I like to try to do sometimes. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Oh, I see I missed somebody gifted some memberships. I think that's Dancing Dog 60, right? Yep, always so generous. Thank you so much. And Jerome, also very generous. Cowboy Kush, nice to see you. So the way we're going to do this is, per usual, that we're going to have the 3 stories of the day. You can ask questions and have comments while I'm talking, but I'm not going to address them until I open up each section to questions and comments, even if it's a super chat. I mean, you can roll the dice, but your odds are better if you wait till I open it up to questions. And then, of course, as always, for the final 10 minutes of the stream, it's an Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything that you would like. So if you have something that you want to discuss that doesn't tie into today's stories, that's the place that you would do it. Stebbity, I'm so glad you got a membership. It's so great to see people being like, I got a membership. Oh, it's so nice. I appreciate everyone's kind words. I went with the darker eye makeup to go with the shirt. I know it's more of an evening look, but when the trailer debuts for Furiosa, it will be evening. But thank you, Cowboy Kush. I actually learned this makeup trick from rewatching The Devil Wears Prada. And there's one scene where Anne Hathaway is at dinner, and I was like, her eye makeup looks amazing. So I stopped the movie and kept pausing it and going frame by frame and took a picture of her eye makeup. When she had her eyes, she blinked, and I was like, oh, now I see what she's doing. So that's a fun trick. If you see anybody online, any kind of actor or personality, and you like their look, you can try and see if you can do it yourself. So that's kind of where I sometimes try and get my makeup tips from. All right, so let's get started. It's so nice to see everybody. Thank you for joining me yet again. All right, hold on. So here we go. Boop. Oh, thanks, Edward, for gifting a membership. I saw that Taylor Swift went to Beyonce's premiere, and right before we went live, I made a note to include it in Movie Math on Sunday when we talk about Beyonce's opening weekend. I want to be fair to Taylor. She showed up. All right, so right now we're talking about poor Bob Iger. He can't just show up to Beyonce's premiere and fix all his problems. All Taylor Swift has to do is oh, thanks, Marty. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for gifting memberships. All Taylor Swift had to do was stop going to so many football games and go to Beyonce's premiere. And she did both those things, so she's fine. But yeah, Bob Iger is having a very bad week. And we're going to go over it. And it's only Thursday. The week's not even done. They should be like, just go home, Bob. Just go home. He went from being the most beloved CEO, Daddy Iger in his little shirt and sweater, to being like in a race with David Zaslav for most despised CEO. Oh, it's so rough. They don't even have fun catchphrases like Logan Roy. They should work on that. So it's been bad. All right, now I would say to some degree that Disney is an easy target. Ever since, they got into a big fight with Florida, and everybody, of course, Disney was very clickable before all this. So, if you're looking for clicks for your political agenda, marrying it to Disney seems to be the way to go. So that kind of sucks for them, but yeah. So Disney, they're an easy target, which I think is part of the problem. And then Iger, I think, is not versed for publicity today. Everybody needs PR training, and talking in the public eye has changed over the past few years. And Bob Iger has not updated his training. He's like doing pre-pandemic PR, and we're post-pandemic. And I think that I really wish that, I think Hollywood has a big problem in many areas where nobody's willing to help anyone else because they're afraid of getting sucked into that vortex themselves. But I really wish that Bob Iger had a PR executive who was like, please let me send you back to PR training. I'll do it myself for you. And also, apparently, Bob Iger doesn't have like a hunger to learn himself. You think Bob Iger would be like, man, Bob Iger would be like, he sure is tired of sticking his foot in his mouth. So he's like, he would like try and take a moment and sit back and like be like, how can he do this better? But he seems to just be rolling along. But, he's obviously like all the CEOs obscenely wealthy. Danny just pointed out he doesn't need the money. And he said he's certainly leaving by the time his contract extension is up. He's like, I am out of here. He's like, I want to leave right now and leave a little cloud of smoke that's in my silhouette while he gets out of there. All right, so on Tuesday, he had a town hall with the studio. And that's where Bob Iger sits down. MR Negro, be careful. I will put you in a timeout because that weird stuff's distracting. But I know you, so I think that's unusual for you. All right, so anyway. All right. We're not talking about Army Hammer here, man. All right, so Bob Iger's week started out on Tuesday, right after Thanksgiving, where he had his regularly scheduled town hall with his employees. And that's where he's supposed to, address their issues and talk to them directly. But even though he had some stuff to say, he didn't have a Q&A section in the town hall. And I think that was a very bad look. I was surprised that he didn't do that. I'm going to get to that, Poke, okay? Well, I'm getting to the stories, and then if you think I didn't cover something, you can ask me when I open up the section to questions and comments. Simon says, Bob says whatever he thinks will please shareholders, and I think that's true to some degree. We've talked about the fact that, and this is only a recent revelation for me, that the studio heads are really only concerned with the stock. David Zaslav and Bob Iger are really only concerned with making sure the stock performs well. They don't really feel they work for fans or their employees. However, the stock's not doing very particularly well. I think Warner Brothers Discovery is in a little bit of a better shape, ironically enough. I think the stock is having some problems. So I think that's an issue too. All right, so no Q&A. I think he was afraid what people would ask him. But I still think, then don't have the town hall. Be like, oh, Bob Iger's sick. He can't come in today. I don't feel like he should. I don't think he should show up and then not open it to questions. All right, then yesterday, that's where all those photos are from. There was some kind of New York Times summit. All right, so unfortunately, not only did Bob Iger attend, but so did Elon Musk. And Elon Musk decided to make the most of it. I think they both embarrassed themselves, but let's start with Bob Iger. So Bob Iger said a couple of really not such great things. So he first said, some of you asked me about this yesterday, he said that he admitted that Disney had not prioritized entertainment the way they should, and they should not be focused at all on message. And I think, as I said yesterday, I think that was a really harmful thing to say. And I think that it would have been better for him to say that entertainment and message go hand in hand. I think that to throw his employees under the bus is a weird take, especially since, as many people are pointing out, almost everything that is a problem right now was started under Bob Iger. And it went off the rails under Chapek, but even Chapek himself was picked by Bob Iger. The tale of two Bobs. Bob Iger had picked Bob Chapek to do all the boring work that he didn't want to do, and Iger when he first hired Bob Chapek, had planned to stick around in a creative capacity. So it's like, what? All right, then also he said something about they weren't going to make as many sequels. Bob Iger was like, oh, we're only going to make sequels if we feel there's a genuine need to continue the story. And it's like, hey, Bob Iger, weren't you the guy who just a couple of months ago announced with Razzle Dazzle that you were doing Inside Out 2, Zootopia 2, and Toy Story 5? So, he could be like, well, Bob Chapek started all those, and I just had to announce them. And then he also said some stuff about, I saw a latest headline that they were like, well, why was The Marvels so bad? And The Marvels wasn't that bad. It just was niche in terms of its appeal. But Bob Iger said, there weren't any studio executives because of COVID on set to keep it in line. And I'm like, it's like, well, then what were all the other, were there not any studio executives on all the other movies that didn't work out? What about Indiana Jones? I mean, it seems like a bigger issue. So, I mean, I just felt like that was like, I don't know why he would do this to all of his creatives and all of his executives. And, you know, and also, why doesn't he just do the old, I don't want to look backward, I want to look forward. I'm all about positivity and a brighter tomorrow. He should be training in PR, like evasive PR tactics. I mean, they train you in that. For instance, I'll give you a little trick. When someone says to you, that's an interesting question, or I never thought of that before, when you're interviewing them, it really, and you know, it's hard to take this because you want the compliment as the interviewer. But what the interviewee is really doing, and someone taught me this, is buying themselves time. So you can use that trick yourself as well. So if anybody asks you a question that you're not quite sure how you want to answer it, you're supposed to say like, yeah, that's a great question, or I never thought of that before, or, ooh, I love that. And then you can take, while you're doing that, you think up the answer that you want to give. So I think that's hilarious. So why doesn't Bob Iger do that stuff? Thank you, Danny. I think you mean masterclass, and I think that's funny because Bob Iger, of course, had a masterclass. That's right, MR Negru. I like you using it right away. That's very funny. You're in a mood today, MR Negru. You're in a mood. And Jay Kelly says, I'm a recruiter. I coach folks that technique. That's awesome, Jay Kelly. Bob Iger could use you. So then, unfortunately, after Bob Iger took the stage, Elon Musk got up there. And it was hilarious. I believe, didn't he say he has Asperger's? So I believe that that's the reason that Elon Musk, well, because Elon Musk was like, Jonathan, the only reason I'm here, to the interviewer, speaking of interviewers, is Elon Musk, and someone sent me this, and I was like, that he didn't really say that, did he? And he did. I checked the video. And Elon Musk said, Jonathan, the only reason I'm here is because we're such good friends. And then the guy's like, I'm Andrew. And it was like so bad. And Elon, to his credit, just rolled with it. Like he wasn't even embarrassed. He was like, whatever, you're not important, you know? Like it was like hilarious and very telling. So anyway, they said, how do you feel about the fact that all these companies have paused their advertising on Twitter or X? And Elon Musk, he knew Bob Iger. He says, is Bob Iger in the audience, or can Bob Iger hear me? Because Bob Iger had just previously gone on like a few sessions before. And Elon Musk very publicly said to Bob Iger personally to F off. And, you know, that's a great headline. You know, Elon Musk, he might not have PR training in terms of finesse, but Elon Musk is very good at generating a headline. But it was more than a headline. Elon Musk was really rallying his troops, all the people who flooded back onto Twitter once they were unblocked on the service. But, you know, Elon Musk is rallying and it's signaling his side to pin the demise of Twitter, not on Elon Musk's behavior and the lack of censorship. You know, I don't think censorship is the correct term. They're trying to say it's censorship. I think, you know, obviously you should curtail hate speech and misinformation. So anyway, Elon Musk is saying, you know, these companies are not, he said, so Elon Musk is trying to change the conversation. Elon Musk is saying it's not these companies are concerned about what's on Twitter and what their ads are going to appear next to, which I think is a very valid concern. But Elon Musk is saying these companies have a personal problem with the way Twitter is today, which means all of you, and so they're trying to kill the company. So sure enough, this morning, I was like, why is cancel Disney Plus trending? And I saw that it was far-right commentators saying these companies, here's a list of companies that are pausing their advertising on X/Twitter, and that means they're against you. And so we should not go into business with them. And that's I mean, I guess it is what it is. I am curious as to how many Disney Plus cancellations they might have had today. And I thought it was interesting that was the same day that this morning, before I saw that, I saw a Hollywood Reporter article about all the new perks at Disney Plus. And I was like, this is an ad. Like, it was very clearly an ad. There was no subjectivity to it, and they were just saying how great Disney Plus was and that all the reasons that you should join it and all the new perks that they were adding. And I kept going back to the tweet, and I went back to the article. I was going back and forth, and I was like, it needs to say it's an ad, doesn't it? Where does it say ad? And then I saw in very faint font that was like a light gray, so it was very hard to see it. At the top of the article, Hollywood Reporter wrote, Hollywood Reporter might get some kickback money for everyone who signs up based on the links in this article. And I was like, wow, I don't think that satisfies, the way you're supposed to say something is an ad. And so to see that kind of sketchy thing, and then just a little bit later, the sketchiness of the canceled Disney Plus and Elon Musk's thing, you're like, you guys are both doing it. Both people are like being kind of shady. So that was crazy. So I am, but so Disney, more problems. And I am curious. I mean, there are a lot of conservatives who are Disney customers. So I think that there's, Matt says that's an affiliate link, not an ad. I think if the article had been more subjective, I think that maybe they could have gotten away with it. But that it was written like an ad, I think is what really was so bizarre to me. So some of you, you guys want a poll? Or a poll? Okay, Alex says, how about a poll? Where do you go after Twitter dies? All right, let's say about the future of social media. What is the future of social media? I have a hard time believing that X will go anywhere. I think Elon Musk will sell it before he lets it die and recoup some of his expenses. X/Twitter will never die. Threads, Blue Sky, and then Instagram. But that's services in such a different way. Instagram is visual, and whereas Twitter is articles and information and opinions. I'm going to say Elon will sell Twitter is the fourth option. All right, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member, whereas only members can comment in the chat, the live chat. Anyone can vote in a poll. So if you're watching and you'd like to share your thoughts on this, be sure to vote in the poll. That's right, Delicate Genius. You're using the barber pole emoji. So yeah, I think Elon Musk is just saying this to try and force these companies to go back to advertising on X because they're worried about it affecting their business. And again, let's see how many cancellations Disney Plus gets today. They'll never share that, but you'll be able to see how hurtful it might be based on how they act in the next few days. But, I don't think he'll just let the company die. I mean, he certainly won't be able to sell it for what, I don't even think, some people are like, Elon Musk did not want to ruin Twitter. And I'm like, I don't think Elon Musk would care if it died, except for the financial loss that he would take. But I don't think he ever, just like I don't think Donald Trump actually wanted to run for president, I don't think Elon Musk actually wanted to buy Twitter. I think these were things that they said, and these things got out of control, and then they could not back out. Donald Trump, because he was winning, and he then eventually won. And then Elon Musk, because he was sued and had to go back, and they sued him into buying it. Because, the company, while I think it was better run, it wasn't making any money even back then. So it was a tough situation. So then it gets worse. So even after the Elon Musk debacle, today, Nelson Peltz got very upset because they added 2 more board members. And I saw that headline and I was like, no, one of those is not Nelson Peltz. So they added 2 more board members to the Disney board today. And they said they were willing to meet with Nelson Peltz's company, his investment firm, but they would not be offering them any seats. And Nelson Peltz says that's unacceptable. And of course, he also has Isaac Perlmutter, who's, speaking of Elon Musk and Trump, Isaac Perlmutter is a supporter of that group. Isaac Perlmutter gave his voting shares to Peltz to make Peltz even more popular. And Peltz said he's going to take this to a vote to the shareholders in the spring. That'll be the next shareholder meeting where he can do that. And so, will he be able to force his way on the board? And I think, if Disney cannot turn things around and just continues to sink, maybe even moderate shareholders might be more open to seeing what Nelson Peltz can do. I think, Natalie Sue says they don't want Nelson Peltz on the board. And I think the reason they don't want him on there is not only because I think of his politics, but because of the way he's handling it and the way that he's trying to force his way onto the board. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before? And I'm very curious to see who Bob Iger picks as the new head of Disney. There's going to be a new CEO in the next few years. And I don't really think, being a CEO, it seems to be a pretty thankless job these days, but the pay is exceptional. Let me close the poll, see if you guys have anything to say. Hold on. All right, so 47% of you agree with me that Elon Musk will sell Twitter, and 36% of you feel it will never die. And so that together is like over 80% feel that Twitter isn't going anywhere, and I agree with that. I think it's too well designed and it's just too pervasive. And I don't think any of the other social media networks are designed well enough to compete. And then there's Threads and Blue Sky coming in dead last. I don't think it's going to work. Dwight says, what about rumors Feige is on his way out? I haven't heard that rumor. I think it's unlikely. I think they're going to let him go through Avengers Secret Wars. And I don't think, does Bob Iger, maybe he'd fire Kevin Feige on the way out. And again, I don't believe any of these people who are so big, like Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy, I do not believe that they will be fired. I believe they will step down. And also, maybe Bob Iger will have Kevin Feige take on an advisor like he made Kathleen Kennedy do with Dave Filoni. Cowboy Kush, I think that the other social networks like Threads and Blue Sky are just very difficult to navigate. I just don't see the same effectiveness. Lord Baratheon says, I think within a year, Elon will sell Twitter. I would agree with that. He might want to hold on to it through the next presidential election because he's so politically involved as well. And so I think he'll want to control it through that presidential election, but then probably he'll get rid of it. Oh, by the way, side note, everybody's speculating that Mark Cuban might run for president. And, I would take that. I know some people are against celebrity and business people as presidential candidates, but our other choices are awful. Mark Cuban, of course, said he's not returning to Shark Tank for the next season, and he's selling his stake in the Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks, his sports team, which has defined him for most of his adult life. And so everybody's speculating that the only reason he would part with both those brands, Shark Tank and the Mavs, is because he's going to run for president and wants to be taken more seriously. I think that's a pretty good idea. Here, I'll ask you for president stuff. No, that's too political. I don't want to get in on that. But I think Mark Cuban's a good choice. I like Mark Cuban. And he did that wonderful thing with prescription drugs. See, Jewel would vote for him. That's right. She brought up the medicine. That's a big selling point for him. Hey, Elise. Welcome back. Danny, he'd have to run as a Democrat. And he'd have to be running against Joe Biden. But you have, unfortunately, because of the way the financial situation is set up in the United States with the two political parties, as an independent, he just simply wouldn't get enough votes. And he would end up just splitting the Democratic vote. And so I think that would be detrimental. So you can't do that. Third party candidates actually end up just hurting the party that they're the closest to. And so he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to have to run in the primary. But I think Joe Biden is a weak candidate as well. And, John Thrasher, I'm afraid I think Bernie Sanders is too extremist. Mark Cuban is a real middle of the road guy. Not Modern Painter says Mark Cuban has been planning for this for a while. He and Andrew Yang have been working on it. Andrew Yang, that's an interesting person. I wonder if he would be his vice presidential candidate. That's a good ticket. Although I do not like Andrew Yang's universal income idea. I think that's detrimental to society. Okay, so, and I like Andrew Yang as a person. I just really have a problem with his universal salary idea. I think it's better to give people meaningful jobs and careers, and just, I think that I think it puts them on, like, side. I know that some of you might support it, and I think that it seems okay. Like, who doesn't want, like, guaranteed money every month? But it really puts you on the sidelines in terms of the society, and you really just become you're valued by your purchase power, and that really, I think, is like what becomes like with Wall-E. I think then you're on the road to Wall-E, and that, I think, is concerning. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the next story, especially since we moved on to politics. All right, let's see what happens. That's what Juan Carlos says: teach a man to fish and he'll eat for the rest of his life instead of giving him fish. That's a very famous saying. Randy, I am on Blue Sky, I am on Threads, I am on Instagram, but I just am not as active because I don't have the same engagement I find on those other social media channels. And so Twitter to me still is the most effective. Even when it's awful, I still love it. Someone the other day was like, do you think you'd ever leave Twitter? And I'm like, I'm riding that thing all the way down like Dr. Strangelove to the bottom. I don't care. Especially because I said all that stuff about women shouldn't allow themselves to be forced off of Twitter. Then I can't just talk the talk. I gotta walk the walk. So I will never leave. Twitter will have to just be, cease to exist before I leave the platform. All right, so let's go to the next story of the day. Hold on. That's right, J.D. Gibbs. Aquaman, Aquabomb, boop. Aquabomb. That's hilarious. Aquabomb. That's really funny. I like that. Aquabomb. I'm going to write that down. Aquabomb. Stuff just writes itself. All right, so story number 2. Hold on. Boop. All right, Aquaman. It's been tracking a little bit, but it officially came on tracking today, and the trades covered it. Although they had different numbers. So I wrote this story with 50 to 60%, which is what Deadline is saying. But then the Hollywood Reporter is saying it might be 40 to 50 million. And that would be a disaster. So let's look at some DC box office, shall we? I also want to say very quickly that Christmas this year and New Year's are a 4-day weekend. December 22nd is a Friday, and that means that Christmas Eve is a Sunday and Christmas Day is a Monday, which means movie math for both both Christmas and New Year's will go up on a Tuesday. It'll go up on the day right after each respective holiday. Because I got to see how the movies perform for their 4-day weekend. All right. It's weird not to do it on Sunday for 2 weeks in a row, but that's when Christmas and New Year's is. All right, so here we go. I want to make sure you can see it. There's the recent, okay, here we go. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. I'll be back. All right, so here's the recent box office for DCEU movies. And you can see you have the production budget, the opening weekend, the domestic box office, and the worldwide. All right, I've got an arrow. Here it comes. All right, so there's the first Aquaman. Here it is. Let me move this. Oh, I hope you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. I should have done it the other way around. All right, so as you can see, the first Aquaman did open with just 67 million and somehow went on to gross $1 billion. It's the only movie here to make $1 billion, which I think it answers your question as to why they're still releasing it. They're like, who knows? Maybe it'll do it again. So that's why I think that at first glance, this isn't too alarming. You're like, oh, okay, so it's going to open like where the first one did. But then, if you go and you look at where, let's see here, Black Adam opened, also at 67, right where Aquaman did, and yet it only got to 390 worldwide. And then The Flash, right above that, opened at 55. And only got to 266. Oh my God, look at these dwindling numbers. It's so depressing. So James Gunn's like, oh my God. So I feel the problem is that it's just not going to be able to happen again. And instead, you're seeing Aquaman tracking exactly at the same rate as The Flash and Black Adam. That's what I'm seeing when I see this number. So that's concerning. Then the other weird thing is that Aquaman, of course, comes out December 22nd. But the week before, also from Warner Brothers, is the Wonka movie on December 15th, which is so ridiculous. You're like, what? And then on a few days later on Christmas Day, The Color Purple comes out, also from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is releasing 3 movies in about a 2-week span, a little less than 2 weeks. That, like a week and a half. That's crazy to me. And I haven't seen Aquaman yet, but I can tell you that both Wonka and The Color Purple are excellent. Excellent, excellent films. And it's bizarre to me that Warner Brothers hasn't done a very good job advertising any of them and is opening them in such close proximity. So I think that, who's going to be the big hit? I guess Warner Brothers is like, whichever one it is, it'll be our movie. So it's weird. It's very, very bizarre. Now, of course, obviously, Wonka and Color Purple are awards contenders. So that's another reason that they're opening right now, because they want to do a strong award season. But still, I think maybe they could have been, Wonka, maybe Wonka should have been a Thanksgiving movie. I mean, Wonka and Color Purple are both excellent films, but I don't know how they're going to perform because they've been so poorly advertised. Color Purple did not move, Kareem. It's opening Christmas Day, but it might be only opening in limited release. I think obviously the idea with Color Purple is it will play all the way through January and February. It's a very, very, very strong film. Extremely. Both those movies are excellent. Now, this, of course, is the final DC movie before Superman Legacy, which comes out in 2025. So there's going to be about a year break. So we'll see what happens. I wonder if that's enough. The Batman Saito is not DCEU, and that also comes out in 2025. So, yes, Dr. Long Monkey, Wonka has musical numbers. Both Wonka and The Color Purple are musicals. Full on, fully fledged, like dancing, singing, the whole thing, they are musicals. Like the old time musicals of like Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, My Fair Lady. They're musicals. And they're quite good in that regard. So, yeah, we'll see. I think one of the problems is that Jason Momoa is probably going to stick around as Lobo. So you're like, is it really the end? It doesn't feel like the end. It just feels like a little bit of a break. And I think the fact that it's going out with a whimper, I don't know. I liked the first movie so much that I'm willing to wait and give it the benefit of the doubt until I actually see it. But, let's see it. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Rocco, if you love musicals, get excited for those 2 movies. Nacho Flores says, will Amber Heard be on the red carpet? You better believe it. I mean, the only person who can keep Amber Heard off of the red carpet for Aquaman 2 is Amber Heard herself. Because there's no way are they going to have Amber Heard be able to say on social media that she wasn't allowed on the red carpet for Aquaman 2 when she's in the movie. Now, maybe she would like a little bit more of a break because, her public perception is in tatters. But I think Amber Heard's never been able to read a room, so I think she's probably going to show up on the carpet. And also, when is she ever going to be on a red carpet again? Speaking of last hurrahs. So let her go. I hope that if you don't like Amber Heard, you just ignore her. Don't harass the woman. I mean, I think I really would just like to back away from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. And Johnny Depp didn't bounce back either, by the way. Remember, after his trial, everybody was like, oh, he's back. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to come back. And some people were just so convinced, and he didn't. Hollywood's risk aversion should never be underestimated. Yeah, Heather, I agree. Just leave Amber Heard alone. CB, he lost the UK trial, but he won the US trial, so. Riley Steele, Johnny Depp is in Beetlejuice? Are you sure about that? Although, if anyone's going to bring him back, it's Tim Burton. I'm surprised Tim Burton would take that risk. Ricardo, I'm not sure when I'm going to see Aquaman 2. I did write them and be like, do you want me to vote for it for Best VFX? You know, because I'm a Critics' Choice member and my voting period is coming up. And I think Warner Brothers was like, no, we're good. We're fine. We're not showing this movie early to anybody. But, you know, I'll see it before it comes out. I'll be able to make the review embargo. I mean, I told you, I liked the first movie a lot, and I'm excited about it. Okay, I'll take a poll. That's right, Matthew. Let's do a poll about about Aquaman 2. Are you seeing Aquaman 2 in theaters, opening weekend, then just in theaters? Oh no, we'll just do in theaters because I need extra categories. Sorry. Digital, Max, which is like streaming, so no extra cost, and then finally, not watching it. There you go, because I can only give you 4 choices. And again, if you just tuned in recently, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. You have to be a member to participate in the live chat, but anybody can click on the poll and vote in it who's watching. I mean, again, I'm looking forward to the film. I like the first one quite a bit, and so I'm excited to see it. Toon Dude 19 says, IMAX is a must. I saw it in IMAX, the first one, and it was pretty incredible. CB, I couldn't see Godzilla -1 because I had family plans that came up last night, and I just, you know, they were very important to me, so I couldn't go. I was going to go, but I just ended up not being able to go. And then I can't go this evening because I want to cover the Furiosa trailer, and then it's just too late at that point. So, apologies. Matt, I'm so glad you're looking forward to it, and you're going to go with your son. See here. B Weeb says the film's release feels like having a birthday party for someone who's dead. Wow, B Weeb, put that on the poster. That's harsh, but I feel potentially somewhat true. Okay, I'm going to end the poll in just a moment. I would agree, Cat Shack, that they waited too long. Like it was a slow death for the DCEU. Very slow. All right, there we go. Let's see here. Are you seeing Aquaman 2? 37% are seeing it in theaters. 30% are not watching it at all. But at least 70% are going to watch it at some point, right? Max, at no extra cost for 25%. And then only 6% of you will pay to watch it on digital. I guess you feel if you're going to pay, you might as well see it in theaters. But if you got it on digital, you would own it. But then why would you want to own Aquaman 2? Hi, Juan Santiago in Puerto Rico. So nice to see you. I love your enthusiasm. Yeah, it's real sad, but it was, I don't know, it is what it is. And I think, you know, it's like they did it to themselves. So it's hard for you to be really sad about it. Matthew says, I have an AMC A-list membership, so it costs me nothing to go. That's right, me too. That's true. Hey, Carrie, afternoon to you as well. Yes, Danny, HBO Max and Max are the same thing. I wonder if they're going to have like an end credit sequence. Because like for what? Will it just be James Gunn being like, I'm so sorry and I hope to see you. Please come back in 2025. All right, so let's go to the final story of the day. Hold on. All right. Boom, baby. All right, so then after this will be the Q&A. All right? So Charles Melton, that's the individual there on the left. For those of you who don't know, and a lot of you might not know that. And then he's on this Riverdale poster. He's covered up actually by the red square. He's the little guy there. Hold on, let me get my arrow. Here it comes. There it is. Hold on, there he is. There's Charles Melton right there. He played Reggie on Riverdale. So he had a very small role, literally, and he was hardly on there at all. But then he got this role in May December. Now, if you aren't familiar with May December, this is an awards picture on Netflix starring Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, who I think probably are like How the heck are we not getting the awards and Charles Melton is? But Charles Melton so far is getting all the acting awards for this movie. And it is based on the Mary Kay Letourneau scandal, where she had an affair with one of her students, then went to jail, and then when she got out, she married him, and they had a family. So it's based on that, the Hollywood version. And I can't believe it, this guy's winning all the awards. So once he won it for the Gotham Awards, and I was like, oh, those Gotham Awards, they're crazy. But then today, he won the New York Critics' Choice Circle. And so I was like, now it's real. Charles Melton probably can't even believe it. So let's look at the New York Critics Circle winners, which I feel were like, nah. All right, so they had Killers of the Flower Moon for Best Film, Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer for Best Director. I'm like, both those movies, I don't like those movies. Best Actor, although just to give you an idea of the voting tastes of this of the New York Critics Circle, last year they gave Tar. Tar was their best picture. And I think the people who like Tar are the same people who like these movies. Best Actor, Franz Rogowski for Passages. Best Actress, Lily Gladstone, also for Killers of the Flower Moon. Best Screenplay, May, December. Then there he is, Charles Melton, Best Supporting Actor for May, December. He is now the front runner. Sorry, Ryan Gosling is Ken and Robert Downey Jr. from Oppenheimer. It looks like Charles Melton might be walking up there. And then Davine Joy, another Randolph, for Best Supporting Actress. I'm very happy for her. I haven't watched The Holdovers yet, but I heard she's very strong in the movie and is probably going to take the Oscar too. Best Animated Film, The Boy and the Heron. Best Cinematography, Oppenheimer. Best First Film, Past Lives. Best International Film, Anatomy of a Fall. And then Best Nonfiction Film, I cannot pronounce that. Apologies. So I think it's just very interesting, and I think Charles Melton is going to suddenly find himself in the same sentence as Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert Pattinson, two other guys who went from heartthrobby status, although Charles Melton was never at their level, to like a really strong actor. And I wonder what he'll be able to get out of this. If I were his agent, I would be signing deals now. Austin Butler is an interesting comparison, Danny. But I don't know who Austin Butler would be if it weren't for the Elvis role. Winter said, is he just an underdog of the award season or is he already a top dog? He's a top dog, Winter, because he's won twice. Having him be invincible, Danny, is an interesting idea. I think he might be a little bit too cool to be invincible. I always saw Invincible, the animated series and the comic book. I always saw him being a little nerdier. I think, Stephen Yeun is actually, who can play an adult Invincible, in my opinion. But this guy is he's I think he would probably go after the roles that Simu Liu would be going after. And then also, I've already forgot him. He was Snake Eyes. Hold on. He was from Crazy Rich Asians. Henry Golding. Thank you. Henry Golding. Poor Henry Golding. That just didn't work out. But I think there's a scarcity of roles for these actors, which I think both of Simu Liu and Henry Golding had to deal with. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if Charles Melton can maybe break through because he's got an awards to help him out. So, and also Simu Liu got into a lot of trouble with his social media behavior, from what I can recall. But he was very good in Barbie. I'm surprised Simu Liu hasn't been able to parlay Barbie into anything. The name of the game in Hollywood is that when you have any kind of success whatsoever, your agent is supposed to run out there and say, hey, look, my client is associated with this hot project. So please, would you consider hiring them for your project? And then you can say, you have this actor from this great movie. And then everyone goes, ooh, all right. So these guys should be getting deals already. And so I think that could potentially be the situation. But I just think it's interesting. I want to point out, it's so rare that we catch it as it's happening, but you're seeing a star potentially being born, which I think is very interesting. And it's funny because, when he was Reggie, they used him so little. And I think if you had to think who would be picked up off of Riverdale and graduate to being like a movie star in movies, I don't think anybody would think of Charles Melton, but yet here he is. And he lucked out because they needed an actor to play that guy in real life. And so it was an opportunity. And that's why it's important for, that's why when people say, you should cast somebody who reflects the role because there are so few opportunities for that demographic, and applies to many demographics anyway, let them have the opportunity. And so I think that this is a wonderful example of that. I mean, they could have decided to just loosely base it on the real life story and gone with an actor of a different ethnicity. But instead they kept it in the same, range. And they had Charles Melton got this amazing role. And look what it's doing for him. That's the way the Hollywood system is supposed to work, a breakout role. And so I think that this is a good example of that. And I think it's very exciting. Although I do think it's hilarious, again, that Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman probably thought they would get nominations and awards for this movie. And Charles Melton from Riverdale is just blowing right past both of them. I just think that's hilarious. Oh, Edge, Lily Reinhart for Supergirl. That's pretty good casting. Although I don't know I think casting someone, I think that's going to make it seem too much like the CW Supergirl, unfortunately. James Gunn is not going to bring James Gunn needs someone who's going to bring prestige to him. He has no prestige to transfer to somebody else. Jack, it is just inspired by the Mary Kay Letourneau situation. But still, because it's only inspired, they could have done something different. And I'm glad they didn't, because it's very cool for Charles Melton. Really, he must be like, what? All right, I think, anyone have any comments or questions about this, or are you ready to move on to the Q&A? I sense you're ready to go to the Q&A, but I got to ask. I just got to ask. Kareem says Charles and Lily are the only ones who could level up from Riverdale. I would agree with that. Also, I forgot which twin that he was, but the actor who played Jughead seemed like he had potential. But then I think he squandered it on some crap. It did not work out. Okay, so you ready for the Q&A? All right, here we go. All right, hold on, where did it go? There it is. Q&A, 10 minutes. It's 3:27. Until 3:37, you can ask me anything that you would like, and then I'll do shout-outs, and then I'll see you later for Furiosa. Toon Dude, I'm proud of Charles, too. I'm not even a big fan of Charles, but I think it's really cool what he's accomplishing. Frosty Salt says, would you still want to do a Pirate 6 starring Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom without Depp? I think that they could end the franchise well. I think that it would be such a bad idea to do a Pirates movie where Johnny Depp doesn't show up for at least a cameo. I think it might be difficult for him to be the lead, but I mean, his animatronic is still in the attraction. And I just think he's too closely associated with the character, with the franchise. And I think it would just be too sad. And I think if you're going to do it, you just should do it and try and keep it at 100 million. Hey, Rosho, thank you for gifting a membership. Wavy, I don't know if I'm going to review the Holdovers. It depends when I see it. But I'm so glad that you liked it. I'll probably comment on it to some degree, but I am going to watch it because my voting period starts tomorrow. But I have till the 8th. I vote twice as a Critics' Choice member. First, I vote for nominations, and I can pick any movie I want to say it should be nominated. And then after that, a couple of weeks later, I get to vote for the nominees for who should win. Billy, I haven't seen Godzilla -1, but I was very happy that it trended last night. Julio, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's very generous of you. You too, Not Modern Painter. Thank you for gifting a membership. Kay Walton, I don't know. Some of these films are just not for me, and I've been burned real bad by Poor Things. I don't really know if I want to watch another kind of film in that. Not to say that they're the same thing, but I just think I don't know if it's my cup of tea. Hey, Derek. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Michelle, Hayden Panettiere is also 2TV, I think. Mish, I'm going to try to cover the What If episodes during the holidays. I really hope that they give me screeners because I can't work on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I've been actually talking about it with some other people who cover this stuff, and we're all kind of a little frustrated about it. Denzel, I thought Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last night was nuts. And I thought the fact that Denise Richards showed up full on drunk to that dinner, I was like, what's happening here? This is crazy. Let's see here. Hold on. Bye, EB the Blue. You have a great day, too. All right. Oh, thank you, MR Negro. I'm glad. That was very nice of you. I'm glad you had some fun with today's stream. Let's see here. C-Class is just saying hello to everyone. I think Grace is awesome and so much fun to watch, and that this community is by far the best on YouTube. What a kind thing to say, C-Class. And that's about all of us. She's talking about the community. So, pretty nice. You guys are sweethearts. Rogue Frogger says, I just want to talk about how Glenn Howerton got a nomination for Blackberry. I'm pulling for him, Rogue Frogger. Thanks for the reminder. I got to vote for him for Critics' Choice. We'll get him up there. Stephen Carrier says, with all the other characters in Superman Legacy, where is YOLO's Blue Beetle? I think James Gunn just says this stuff. You know, and you can't really say that he's wrong because Blue Beetle could show up someday and maybe he'll fly by in Superman Legacy. But, let's see here. Gav Onoff says, I heard some rumblings on a Dungeons & Dragons sequel. I'd be shocked, considering the first one didn't do very well. But let's see. I think Chris Pine was saying that. And, you know, good for him. You know, squeaky wheel gets the grease, or the sequel. Levi Crowley says, hey, Grace, you are the best, and your videos always brighten my day. Thank you. I was curious if you would give us a review for Invincible Season 2, Part 1. I'm sorry. My Thanksgiving got away from me, and I wasn't able to do it. So I'm going to try and jump in with the next season. Miguel Seja says, hear me out. Change Deadpool release date to the same weekend as Joker. We could have another Barbenheimer? No. Let those movies succeed. Let's see here. Thomas says, how do you think Wonka will perform? I think it's not going to go well. Danny says, Grace, can Anya Taylor-Joy still be Matt Reeves' Harley? I think if she really does sign on for the Marvel film, and I hope she doesn't, because the rumor is, of course, that she might be the female version of the Silver Surfer. What a waste of Anya Taylor-Joy's time. I hope she doesn't do it. But if she does, she's not going to be able to do anything in DC. Rafa's Vision says, Grace, do you think Clea, played by Charlize Theron, will become a major player in the MCU? If they do indeed move ahead with Doctor Strange 3, then for sure she'll be a main character. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see here. John, Denny, I appreciate your asking this question about what do I think about Disney's exit from the Indian market, but this is the first I'm hearing about it, and I don't think that I'm familiar enough with that story to, I think, give you a good answer on it. So I do see your question. John Thrasher says, do you think Marvel keeps one movie on the 2024 slate? So many Disney Plus shows in the pipeline. Maybe they're saving room for those. I also think they're trying to fix it. I mean, it's gotten so bad for Marvel that now actors are like saying how they're going to fix the MCU. Like Iman Vellani was like, here's what I do. And it's like, are you nuts? And then Wyatt Russell was going around saying how Thunderbolts was going to be a good MCU movie. And you're just like, what's happening? I mean, Kevin Feige has just lost total control. Whelm says, joined late. So sorry if this was answered already. Do you think the studios need to advertise on Twitter when reporters such as yourself, bloggers, and news outlets would essentially do it for them? I think they do, Whelmed. I mean, I do feel that people like myself contribute to the whole, but I think it's a big picture. And I think that, you want to be firing on all fronts. And I think that social media makes it seem like a party. I think it's very important. And so I think that, yeah, I do think it's important to them. And I think it is a loss for them not to be on X and Twitter, which just goes to show you how concerned they are about where their stuff might be appearing. So, yeah, I do think that they need it. Oh, thanks, B-Weeb. Yes, if you could like the stream, and hey, why not subscribe? I would appreciate it. Oh, bye, Dane. Have a good meeting. Carson Johnson says, do you have any tea on Frozen 3? Ever since the land opened in Hong Kong, I can't get enough Frozen. I'll look into it. I haven't been looking into it. I'm trying to do stuff. I feel like I didn't answer somebody's question about Deadpool 3 on this stream because I feel like spoilers are kind of getting a little bit out of control. And like there are so many surprises in Deadpool 3 that are being ruined on social media that I feel really bad for the film. So I'm trying to be really careful. I'm talking about you, Ulysses. I appreciate you wanting to know what I think, but that's why I'm not answering you. Dr. Doom Toboggan says, Glenn is a 5-star man. Glenn Howerton. That's hilarious. I love it. Alex, I haven't heard anything about the casting of Hulkling. If you're talking about Billy's boyfriend, I heard that wasn't Hulkling. But I believe that is a biracial actor. The guy Taiwan says, but why would Blue Beetle be in Superman Legacy? Well, why would Metamorpho and Green Lantern and all those, and Hawk Girl? I mean, if they can be in Superman Legacy, so can Blue Beetle. Anthony, always so nice to see you, says, when will we get a trailer for Joker 2? Well, they advertise it like Mean Girls and Wonka and trick people into thinking it's not a musical. Well, not with Lady Gaga in it. I don't think they're going to do that. That movie doesn't come out until like October, right? So you'll probably start to see stuff, at the beginning of the summer and stuff like that. Matthew says, who would you like to cast as Poison Ivy? Well, for a while there, I was on the Ana de Armas train, but I don't know about that anymore. Xtina says, do you drink, Grace? Just wondering. I actually do not drink. I do not drink. I have no vices, especially since I'm back on my special diet. I just live. Joe, I haven't watched Blue-Eyed Samurai yet, but I am excited. It's on my list, but I'm watching Fargo right now. And also I'm trying to work my way through awards films. Watched Trolls 3 the other day. Loved it. Got the soundtrack. Albert says, ideal villain for Batman Brave and the Bold. Well, the Al Ghul family, right? If we're going to deal with Damian, I would love to see the Al Ghuls done right. Thanks for saying that, Dorothy. What a nice thing to say. Al Watch says, Grace, I get skipping Saltburn, Priscilla, and but Trolls? I did see Trolls. I watched it at home with my screener, and I thought it was a really great movie. GUI Morera says, would a Scarlet Witch movie be successful? Really want one, but I'm afraid after the Marvels. Well, it depends who else is in it. I would rather see Wanda in like a MCU magic movie with Doctor Strange and other characters and Loki. I think that would be better for everybody. Yes, Gap, as we discussed yesterday, the House of the Dragon trailer will drop on Saturday. Hey, Helena. Let's see here. Billy Malloy says, I'm very excited about the color purple, so I'm glad you said positive things. Oh, you're in for such a treat. You're going to love it. Danny, you want a Priscilla watch along? Maybe we will do that at some point, since I have not seen it. But we have to wait for it to hit digital. Edge says, I know it's obviously not happening, but I'd love for the MCU and the DCU to merge into one Earth later down the line. That'll never happen. They don't even merge in the comics. I mean, it's too complicated, and who would make the money, right? Randy Grimsley says, would you ever do It's a Wonderful Life for a movie watch along? Keep the classics alive. Did I do that already? I think I might have already done that, but I'll check. I love that movie. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie. I'm like, let George Bailey live his life. But what a great guy. See here. Diana Mosher says, Grace gets spicy without alcohol. That's true. I once had a friend of mine, he said that I got drunk by osmosis. I can get loopy all on my own. I don't need any assistance. Let's see here. Spooky Tone says, what's your favorite horror movie? I guess it's Psycho. I think it's really The Shining. I love The Shining. Big fan of The Shining. Mark Chapman says, just wanted to say I watched a TCM over the weekend and enjoyed it. Oh, TCM is so great. Breakfast at Tiffany's was, well, yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's has some very unfortunate elements, but of course, overall, it's a classic, much lauded film. Jeff McCullough says yesterday's Fargo episode was nuts. Now I gotta watch it. Nick, I have to say that I've never done any substances. I used to like sugar, but I had to give it up. So now I just, as I said, exist. Let's see. Thanks, Danny. Omar, I've seen all episodes of The Crown except the very last one, which they've held back. And I think it's a wonderful show. I love The Crown. Love it, love it, love it. Although I think they didn't have enough episodes for the ending. It seems a little rushed. Like they're moving through the William and Kate stuff like that. Also, I finally experienced what everyone else does. With the William and Kate stuff, I was like, I think you're making this you're putting a little bit of a happy face on it. I feel like there's a little bit more going on here than you're acknowledging. So I think that's how some people feel about the Charles and Diana situation. Sophia says, trying to get more into classic films. Any recommendations? Yes, I think that it's the best thing to do is to go and look at the AFI Top 100 lists and work your way through those. That's a great starting point. It's really important that you've seen all those movies. Another fun thing to do if you're at the advanced level, because you've seen most of the regular classics, is to get Turner Classic Movies. And then you can just go through, and that's what I do, and you record movies that they have that you haven't seen, and then you can watch them, and it's almost like a radio station, and they come up with movies that you normally wouldn't think of. So that's what I recommend. And I hope, that's great, Sophia. You're in for a treat. Such good movies. David Linares Plata says, have you watched Anatomy of a Fall yet? No, I haven't. I really want to watch it. I got to watch it before the 8th. Asensio, caffeine is also a drug, and I also don't have caffeine anymore. I'm not even really I guess I have it occasionally in iced tea, but that's very low on caffeine, and I'm not even really supposed to do that. I'm just supposed to drink a ton of water. Speaking of that. Chat, I didn't see your super chat. Oh, we've done Sound of Music. It's time for The Breakfast Club, Grace. Oh, I've never seen The Breakfast Club, so maybe we should. I do have blank spots in my movie, movies I've seen. Matthew, I didn't watch A Genie on Peacock. I watched clips of the old Bernard and the Genie over Thanksgiving weekend, and I thought that was pretty good. Shahar, I loved NSYNC's cameo in Trolls. I thought it was so funny. The music overall was great. I thought Velvet and Veneer were very talented, even though that was not, well, I don't want to give any spoilers. Billy says, have you watched Squid Games, the Squid Games Challenge? I've watched a little of it. I've kind of like scrolled through it also during Thanksgiving, but I don't know. I don't know. Elliot, I'm glad you like Turner Classic Movies as well. Oh, I'm way over my time. Okay, let's do shout outs. What's everybody doing so I can say hi to you? Wavy, I did see the variety actors on actors lineup, and for some of them I'm like, why are they in there? They're not awards contenders. Like Jacob Elordi for Saltburn, he's not getting nominated, or for Priscilla, he's not getting nominated for anything. Paul Brunel says The Holdovers is amazing. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I can't wait to watch it. Starry says, did you read Aman Vellani's Ms. Marvel comic? I did not, I'm afraid. I forgot that she was even writing one. I read Paul Dano's Riddler comic, and that wasn't very good. Vince Lamb says, my wife and I watched Genie on Peacock. It was fun and cute. That's awesome. On a side note, I just want to say that it's very hard to break into writing comics, and I wish that there was a better way to do it, and that's why they have so many problems with their writers, because it's really just who you know. There's no formal way to become a comic book writer, which I think is really unfortunate. And for actors to just for kicks write comic books, I think is a really bad look for the industry. If there was a way to write comics to break into the industry that was a little bit more formalized, then maybe I'd be okay with it. But the fact that Aman Vellani can just be, and Paul Dano, are like, I feel like writing a comic for my character, even though I don't write and I'm not a writer, I think is really disrespectful to writers and the medium. Let's see here. Dancing Dog 60 is at work shopping online for Christmas. Is that what you do for a living, or are you doing it secretly? I love it. Danny's wearing thumb holes at work. Oh, I'm sure you look amazing. While Randy Grimsley is making a Waldorf salad for dinner. Ah, those are delicious. Yeah, I eat a lot of salads now. Shahar says, trying not to get a cold in Miami. Darn that 65-degree weather. Oh, stop rubbing it in my face. It's so cold here. Parker's AirPod says, I'm getting ready to see Beyonce's Renaissance later tonight. Oh, have fun. I'm excited for movie math. Timmy says, Grace, you have a lot of fans in Sweden. Oh, how nice. That makes me so happy. Hello to you in, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Malmo? Let's see here. Danny says, at work, but I never miss your streams. Much love from Guatemala. Danny, you're always such a breath of fresh air and such a bright light. Marduk says Keanu Reeves is writing Berserker. Yeah, but he came up with that. That's his, and he's not writing a comic. He's writing a movie pitch. Let's see here. Stu Pew Pew says, off out soon to see London Christmas lights and drink with friends. Oh, that sounds wonderful. What a great Thursday evening. Matthew says, what time? Yeah, that's right. Matthew says, do you like shrimp, Grace? I love shrimp. Oh, so delicious. With some whole grain pasta and Parmesan cheese. I'm a fan. Let's see here. Starry's going to get some McDonald's chicken nuggets later. Enjoy. You know what I like. I can't eat that right now, but it's delicious. B Weeb says, wrapping up work, making soup in the armpit of America, Ohio. Going to try to sneak a workout in tonight. That's great, B-Weeb. I like that you're keeping it light and fun. Carlo says, in New Jersey, waiting for that Furiosa reaction. Thanks, Carlo. I'm excited to watch it with you, too. Aneka says, listening in from work as usual. Thanks for the stream today, Grace. My pleasure, Aneka. I love seeing your smiling face there. Popcorn Roulette says, excited to see Maestro tomorrow at an actual movie theater. I hope you like it more than I did. It is a good theater movie to see on a big screen. CJ says, I'm getting ready to go see Renaissance in the biggest screen in Manhattan. I know where you're going, CJ. And then Joe87 says, I'm in bed recovering from a cracked rib. Oh, that's a serious injury, Joe. I'm so sorry. I'm glad we're keeping you company. Thanks for all the hearts, Marduk. And then Jimmy Fletcher says, ordering Taco Bell. You have a lot of fans in Guatemala. Hello, hi. Oh, Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell, too. I'm not allowed to eat that now either. But I love Taco Bell. My order is a bean burrito with no onions. And then what else is it? I like I forget what it's called. Hold on, let me look it up. I'm going to live through you. It's taking me to the app. It knows I have the app on my phone. I think it's a taco. I never know where section it's in. The cheesy gordita crunch with chicken. So delicious. Hey, Kareem. Hello to your puppies. Tillman says, at work, looking at the nice sunny view in my office. Glad for this promotion. Tillman, that's awesome. What a boss comment. I love it. CB, congrats on your promotion and the view. CB says the grilled cheese burrito is a fave. Oh, I've never had that. Starry agrees with my order. Tanvi says, hoping I'll be able to sleep soon. It's 2 a.m. in India. Sending you love. I hope you have sweet dreams, Tanvi. Thank you for staying up with us. Just Josh is making a tuna steak. And David Q says, I missed most of the stream due to a meeting and a Kahoot Christmas theme game. But now I have something to listen to or watch during my workout. I need to watch more Christmas movies. Me too, David. I have like another week or so of watching awards films, and then I'm going to switch over to Christmas movies. Justin also likes the bean burrito with no onions. We're bean burrito buddies, Justin. I love it. I love seeing everybody's Taco Bell order. And Aneka says The Holdovers is a fantastic Christmas movie. Oh, that's great. I'm excited about it. All right, everybody, I better get going. I'll see you later for my Furiosa coverage. The panel starts at 6, and then the trailer should drop a little bit after that, sometime within the hour, between 6 and 7. All right, everybody, bye. Bye-bye. I had so much fun with you as always. Hoping to do a live stream tomorrow. I'm planning on it. It should happen. Okay, bye-bye.